No. Where are we holding? A good vach. Oh, so we have a kasha here on Ravach Bar Yaakov. So where does that sugya start? Oh, Tanya the Loiker of Acha Bar Yaakov. We're holding 5 lines from the bottom of Daf Yomi the base. Today's Daf Yudalef. So quick review. Yesterday we learned about the inyan of Chazakah. And we learned it from, the Gemara wanted to bring a raya from the Neged Tzuras in a house. The Kohen is mazgir the house, he walks out, the Gemara says, well wait a minute, he doesn't see the nega. When he closes the door, he doesn't see the nega. Obviously he's relying on a Chazakah. Rav Acha Bar Yaakov says, it's talking about that he walks backwards. So if he walks backwards, he sees it as he's leaving the house, and there's no problem. And Memela, there's no raya of Chazakah. So the Gemara says, Tanya the Loiker Rav Acha Bar Yaakov. V'yotza hakoyin min habayis yochol yelech l'toich beis v'yazgir. From the fact that it says v'yotza hakoyin, he should leave the house of the tzuras. So maybe it means that he should go all the way to his own house and do the hezger from his own house. Tamaloy mar el pesach habayis. He should be by the doorway. Now, how much Pesach Habayis? Should be literally in the doorway. So, so we have a kohen who sees that there's a neged tzuras in the house. He leaves the house but doesn't leave it completely. Completely but not completely. So he stands by the door, not under the door, and he does what he needs to do. Now, says the Gemara, now, since it says in the Torah, he should be right there by the door. So maybe if he went home, it's no good at all. Even b'di'evet. So what does it say here? It says the kohen should be right there by the house, a little bit outside of the house, not under the mashkoif, by the door. Now, if he was over and went home, and he went to sleep, and he was mazgir from his house, then
he pulled a string from his house.
He closed the door.
He tied a string to the door.
That's one shot in Rashi. Yeah.
Because he himself has to physically lock the door?
Yeah. He's
Right.
going to lock it.
So if he did that, then he's yotzei b'di'evet. Now, what do we see from here? We see from here that the kohen doesn't have to walk out backwards and do it. He could be in his own house and pull the string. Rav Acha Bar Yaakov said that the only way that you have to explain the pasuk. So it is a chazakah. So you have to come on to chazakah. Says the Gemara, Rav Acha Bar Yaakov, Kigoin the kaimi dora the gavri. Now holding the Yudal from now. So he's going to have to explain. Kigoin the kaimi dora the gavri va'amri kidikoikoi. It's talking about. There's a whole row of people, and each person tells the kohen. Each person tells the next kohen. It's broken phone. What's it called?
Broken telephone. Broken telephone.
What do you guys call it?
Chinese.
I have no idea what that is, but in America it's called broken telephone. You also call it in South Africa? Broken telephone. Chinese Christmas. Where are you from?
London.
Okay, so you guys don't count. We got 4 guys from London, and we have 2 South Africans. Do we have any Americans? Anybody?
It's raining. You expect you don't.
Yeah, the Americans don't show up in the rain.
But I don't understand. If you can do it from
That's very weird. 4 English. I'm talking weird. I'm talking Americanish. What?
If it's inside the house, then it's alright that we don't have a proof about the Gabi.
That's exactly what I said. Since he's inside the house, then how's Rav Acha Bar Yaakov said he's walking backwards, but that only good. It's good if he's right by the house. But when he went home, so therefore he has to come on to Pshat from the page.
Yeah, but
Another one, the Zar scroll. But right over here, that there's a whole row of people. It's one to the other. Basically, like in nowadays, it's called a cell phone. The guy's standing by the door, and he says, hey, I'm looking at the nega, it didn't change sizes, you could do hezger. And the kohen is 20 kilometers away, and he says, muzger. Fine. Now,
Pulls the string.
pulls the string.
By telephone.
Yeah, by telephone. Today you could do it with remote control. Now,
Can you rely on a
So there is a
non-Kohen giving as a
There is a chazaka.
no, according to this that we're doing broken telephones, there's no chazaka. No chazaka, because they're saying on the stop. Taisus also points out, just one second, Taisus just says another thing. You don't need literally 100 men standing to a line. As long as one guy was there at 12 o'clock, and he tells the Kohen, you did the Hezger at 12 o'clock, I was there and I saw that it's okay, that's also okay. You don't need B'shas Ma'isa. Yeah, what are you tiny?
From where Rabbi Chabayag will know
How
chazaka?
can the Kohen...
He doesn't hold the
rely-
chazaka.
I'm
saying he doesn't, he's b'chol. He doesn't hold the chazaka, that's all. Correct.
Where do you learn chazaka from?
We learn it from Nega. Rebbe Chabayag has a problem. He maybe doesn't know, I don't know what he
That's why
does.
there's
How
no
can the Kohen,
Hold on.
how
What?
can the Kohen rely on a non-Kohen evidence that the nega...
No, everybody sees the size. Even a guy could see a size. You see, it's 1 inch. Just the color, the this, the that. But in terms of size, I'm saying
The
size.
Kohen has to actually go to the house, let them send in the goy...
No, because that's what I'm telling you. There's also
I'm saying, I've just seen the nega, you can must do it.
no. There's also color, yellow. There's a sar banega, this banega. We're talking about the grist, the size. Not forget the color. We're worried about the color. We're worried about the size now. There's two things. May the color change. All right, Zog the Gemara. Menoha. Now we're going into the whole concept of the entire Shas. Everybody, it's a good thing you just showed up because this is for Shas. This is for life. If you're not here tonight, you might miss one of the biggest sugyas in Shas. How do we know the concept of Roiv? We always talk about Roiv, Kibimavata B'Roiv, or Roiv. How do you know it? Minoah Mil Sedom Rabbanon Zil Bosaruba. How do we even know it? Minolon, ask the Gemara, Minolon, the Chsiv, Achirabin Lahatos. It's a mafurish pasuk. Achirabin Lahatos. You should go after the Roiv. The majority rules. Says the Gemara, okay. What I meant to ask is, Rubad Isakamon, Kigoin Teisha Chanuyos, Visanhedrin. This is one of my favorite Gemaras. You have 9 stores that sell kosher, and 1 store that sells treif. I'm just imagining, why is it my favorite? Because I can't imagine this happening today. Today, if it's not 100% Reuben or Badatz, nobody touches it. We're talking about a piece of meat without anything on it. No stempel, nothing. Just a piece of, a glob of meat on the floor. The guy comes along and says, you know what? It's kosher. Why? Because it probably came from one of these 9 stores.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
And
wasn't
one of them
washed-
was...
washed meat. Wasn't guarded.
That's the whole China. That's why we don't go like that today. That's exactly why we don't go like that. This money, yeah.
It's happening every day.
What?
It's happening every day in the Shechita house.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Because, say we had take the situation we had the other day. You have a lick in the challah,
Yeah.
and you've now gone further, and you've got
it
something
okay?
which is potentially trefa,
Yeah.
and it's all mixed up, and you can't identify which chicken it is or something. What do you do?
She's saying you go by Roiv. You use Roiv. Use Roiv all
So
day.
That's the
every
result.
day they have to pass it on people.
But that's the result of this tomorrow. We're talking about regular events.
I'm just saying we-
I'm saying
I want to see a guy from Bnei Brak eat meat that doesn't have a hefsher in it at all. And you say it comes 9 of these factories are badatz. One of them is rabbanut. There's no way that's rabbanut. Now if you say one of them is an Arab, there's nothing to talk about. Say if one of them is rabbanut. What?
Is he in Bnei Brak on holiday?
The night.
Oh, very good, Shaila. Stop. That's not.
It was done with the part.
Okay. This Sanhedrin. What's the case of Sanhedrin? Sanhedrin is the Sanhedrin of 23. If you have 12 against 11,
That's very short.
if you have 12 against 11, the majority wins. Sanhedrin could kill a person based on majority. Now, in those 2 cases, we're not asking the question. Why? Because it's Ruba de Isakamon. So now the Gemara wants to make enough community between a Roiv that's in front of us and a Roiv that's not in front of us. When you have 9 stores, 10 stores, 9 are kosher, 1 is treif, it's all in front of us. That's not a question. Okay, fine. So we'll do Roiv. Sanhedrin, we'll do Roiv. Now what about Kikam Abayla Ruba de Lesakamon? When the Roiv is somewhere in the world, not in front of us. Such as Kigoin Katan Uktana Minolan. The case of Katan Uktana by Yibum. We just mentioned it, I think, in the beginning of the Sefta. Yibum is if you have a Katan and a Ktana, or a Ktana, you have, let's say, a Yavam who is a Katan. And he's Miyabim, his brother's wife. Now, Midaraisa, she's Asartim, Eshesach. there's an exception to the rule, a Yavama. That's okay if we know that he can have children. But who's to say that he can have children? He's only 8 years old. Maybe he's a Saris.
She married her Ketana.
He was a Katan, or she was a Ketana and he was a Gadol. She's a Gdoila and he's a Katan. Not that both of them are Katan and Ketana. One or the other. You don't need both. Why do you need both?
It's only talking about her Ketana.
No, he's a cotton.
He's a Katan. Why?
And
Why? Why do you have to say that?
she must be a Ketana.
No, why does she must be a Ketana? Maybe he's a Katan and she's a Gdoila and he can't have kids. Either one. Right. No, I don't think you need both. Okay. Fine. I understand. I don't think you need both.
Even if they're both
Right, even both sides. That's the extreme case. Even.
Age 20, so not just like-
Fine. One or the other. The point is
Point is
that we don't know. He might be over on Eishes Ach because we don't know. The only time you can do Yibun is if you know for a fact that he Lahakim Shem Lachiv. If he could be making, if he could have children. If he can't have, now we don't know if he could have children. But we're soymech on a roiv. We say most children are not sarisim.
Just for clarification.
Yes.
We know for certain he can't have children.
Then he cannot do yibum.
No question.
He's not allowed to marry. It's still Eishazach.
Yeah, 100%.
Even
Even though it's a yavam, because he can't be mekayim lachim shem laviv. Lachiv. The
but
only time,
But it stays Eishazach.
yes, she stays isur eishesach. Right. Exactly. That's the. You hear what he's saying? To be clear, if we know for a fact that she cannot have children or he can't have children, then they're not allowed to do yibum because they're over the is pagea beishazachiv. The only time you're allowed to do yibum is if you could be making shem lachiv, if you can have children. So the question is, how do we know that this cotton can have children? I don't know, but I'm going to rely on the majority. And here's a case of relying on the majority.
It's not in front of you.
And they're not in front of you. Why? Because all the kids in the world, all the Ketanim are not in front of you. Even if they are in front of you, bring Ketanim in front of you. You can't say, oh, this guy is going to have children, 1, 2, 3. We don't know. That's only in the future. We'll see that this Katan had children. So it's not in front of us. Yes, it's a theoretical right.
More than one case.
Of real Yibum?
No. He was a chalitza.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The brother was a cotton,
Wow.
so we had to wait till he had to wait about 10 years.
What was that?
Why do you have to wait?
Which one?
According to this, you don't have to wait.
No,
You have to wait. She can't have the chalitza until he can do the chalitza.
According to Rameir, we're Choshesh Lemiyot.
Yeah.
But according to Rabbanu, we're not. Okay, so we could. Bottom line, Omer Rebbe Lazar. We got to move. Rabbi said there's people going to parties. Says the Gemara, Omer Rebbe Lazar, Simin Zaman Shevach Mechanesh.
I was at the chalitza.
My wife's first cousin's husband, he's at the Chasana, did Chalitza. How to do Chalitza, unfortunately.
You have to wait for 10 years.
No, he was already married to my wife's cousin.
We have a very, very close friend who died. They both,
Sometimes you have a... couldn't do chalitza until he was
and that's Margaret.
When he was 13,
And,
No, that
what's
was
his name? Morris's brother was a kid of 8.
if you can't tell, so you have to wait.
And do Chalitza. Wow. That's a weird feeling to know that somebody's attached to you. Zikuk Liyibum when you're 8 years old.
Chalitza just at 30. You don't have to wait.
And not do Yibum. You can't do it Bisman Hazeh. Alright, Rabbi Say, we're really behind. Let's try to move. Says the Gemara, Simin Zman Shevach Mechanesh. The Gemara says, the Gemara is going to bring now 10 proofs that we go Basaroiv. Each one of those letters, Zman Shevach Mechanesh, is a sign of a Manda Omar that gives a proof. They're very easy. It's just going to take us on a little journey through a lot of concepts in the Torah. Says the Gemara, the first one, that we go by Roiv even when it's not in front of us. That we go by Roiv in front of us, we have Sanhedrin and Teisha Chanuyos. Now here's a proof of Roiv that's not in front of us. Says the Gemara, Asim Reisha Shel Oila, from the head of an Oila. You should cut up the Oila into parts. You cut it up into certain pieces, but you cannot make them smaller than the pieces that the Torah describes. Now, says the Gemara, Now, this oila, how do we know that it's not a treifa? How do you know that it's a good oila? Maybe the membrane of the brain is punctured, and therefore it's no good. And you have no way to check it because you can't cut up the parts more than necessary. You can't open up the head because it says V'nita chaysel l'sachel. I don't know if you remember. You remember in Menachos you just recently had a similar kind of drasha. V'nita chaysel l'sachel, v'len l'sachel l'sachim. You cut it into certain parts, but not parts into parts. You remember when we had it? Pasais oisa pitim, and not titim l'ptitim. Fine. Akopanim. The Gemara says, from here's a raya that we could rely on Rav and we don't have to do an autopsy. We could assume that the brain is intact. Says the Gemara, Mimai, what's the proof? Dilma the folly leu. Maybe he cut it open a little bit. In other words, he cracked open the skull. He didn't break the whole skull into two parts and take out the brain. He just cracked one side of the skull. The other side of the skull is intact. And then he opens it up and he peeks inside to see that everything's okay. So that wouldn't be a problem of nita chaysel and sachel. It's still in the same parts. He didn't make more parts. Elo la mishum memaydim v'mishum oysel and sachel v'lo l'sachel and sachim hanimi leichid the chasek le'yamir. That would only be a problem if you cut it completely. If you cut the head into two, then you made more parts than necessary. Leichid the life less number, but just to make a cut inside and peek inside, that's motor. So not a good raya from Marla. Let's go to the next one. Mar berei the Ravina Omar. It says you're not allowed to break a bone of the carbon pesach. Now, how could you eat the carbon pesach? Maybe it's a treifa. Maybe again, it doesn't have the membrane is not intact. Says the Gemara. So you see the concept of roiv. Says the Gemara, the manach. And what's the question? It's not possible to open up the carbon pesach's head and check the krum. Why? Because you're not allowed to break a bone of the animal. Says the Gemara, there is a way to open up the head with a laser, or in those days it's called dimano de manach gumarta alei v'kalei. You put a coal on the skull and it burns through the skull, and that's not considered breaking. By the way, the door is open over there, so if anybody wants drinks and stuff, I open up the door.
Even in Shabbos.
You could even.
Why don't we say
What, even in Shabbos?
You're allowed to do it in Shabbos.
Which, you're talking about different taisus, no?
No.
You're talking about the taisvus. Which taisvus? Which one? Yeah, you're talking about a different case.
No, the Malach B'Matar, you're calling
Yeah, okay.
The most
Yeah.
we don't do this, it just sounds like a right?
Yeah.
It's Derech Shabbos, it's Malacha.
Yeah.
We say
It's Derech Shabbos because we need to know if it's says Gemara, so it's not a raya. No, we don't do it. It's just saying, what's your raya that you can't check? Maybe you do check. Because it says you could cut the sinews and breaking and burning bones. That's not considered breaking a bone. So there is a way out. So don't tell me that you have a raya from here that you rely on the raiv. It's possible that you could do a real bedika of the membrane of the brain. Oh, so now for this I have a. What? I even printed this. Oh, too late already. Why did I print this? I don't know. Since I already printed this, we're going to go back. Over here, when we're talking about the oila, the word oisa is extra. It should say v'hifshit es oila v'nitach l'nesochel. Oisa is extra. Anyways, that you shouldn't break it up into a bunch of pieces. Chaval, I didn't show it to you then. You missed the whole chart.
Like Avi.
Like Avi.
Yansky said, just
Yeah.
print out the whole list.
No. So that's why I'm going to show you why this is so special. If you look at the pasuk, you'd see the pasuk. V'hifshit es ha'oila v'nitach oisa l'sachel. This points out that this word oisa is completely extra. Why? Because you can read it. V'hifshit es ha'oila v'nitach l'nesochel. Now you see geshmak. You don't need this word oisa. The oisa is literally extra. And from the oisa you learn, fine. This chart you can't say Avi's Torah on. This is a picture of a lamb. And we're going to do biology now. Basically, here's the brain and here's the tail. And this is the spine, right? Spinal column. Inside the spinal column is what we call the spinal cord. This red guy. Okay, it's a cord that goes from the brain to the tail. Now what the Gemara says is that right over here at this joint, right over here, like right above the hip, the spinal cord splits into three. One goes down to this leg, the other leg, and it goes down to the tail until it becomes extremely thin. Now what happens if you take a tail of a cat, let's say, or of the lamb, and you cut it right over here? Are you going to cause it any major paralysis? Probably not. Nothing. I've seen cats walking around without tails. Why is it? So they explain, because it splits to three. So each one is not important anymore. If you cut the spinal cord right over here, the animal's gone. It's a goner. But past this point, it's not that chashav anymore. So past this point, we don't care if it's missing or if there's no. It's not treif. Right. That's the word. Right over here would make it a major treifa. Not only treifa, you probably kill it on the spot. Fine. Now there's another point here. Right over here, if you see, these are the kidneys. The question is, where's the tail of this lamb? I don't know if you remember. I once brought a picture when we were learning zvachim that lambs really have tails. So they're supposed to have tails all the way down to the ground. The reason why we don't see them because usually they snip them off and they make them nice and cute. But there are lambs till this very day that have tails that are very long and it's whole thing. But when the Torah says you should put the aliyah of only a keves, a goat you don't put on the mizbeach, but of the keves, the kivsa, you put on the mizbeach. At what point? The tail that we know it. The Gemara says no. It's till this blue point over here, which is by the kloyos, by the kidneys. Okay, so you take a big part of it. Why is that important? Because this blue line over here, I'm telling you the whole Gemara outside. This blue line is before the split of three. This blue line is still real treifa. If you cut it all the way to the blue line, you're making a treifa because the split happens further down. Okay, so let's see inside. The Gemara. We learn from the tail. Now, this aliyah, when you put it on the mizbeach, has to be whole. You can't cut it up. Says the Gemara, perhaps the spinal cord inside is not intact, and that's one of the 18 treifas, and you can't open up. What's the
roiv over here?
Because, no, the roiv is most tails are intact. Not this tail. Most tails, I can't check it. Why can't I check it? If I pop it open, I cut it open, now it's not tmima anymore. The Torah says tmima. So I put it on the mizbech, assuming that the spinal cord is intact. Why should I assume that?
Where you cut it off. If you cut it further off.
That's exactly what the Gemara is going to say. I just cheated. I told you the Gemara before. And if you're going to say he cuts it off on the bottom over here, past the junction, past where it splits, and therefore it's not an important part, and it doesn't render it a treifa. Says Amar Rachmana, the Torah says you have to give it all the way. You have to take the tail all the way opposite of the otza. Otza is eitza. What gives seichel and eitza in an animal? The kloyos. Makom shah kloyos yayetzos. And at that point, it's before the split, and memela, it makes the animal treifa. Says Gemara, maybe he opened it up. But you're concerned about that the Torah says, Tommy, you can't open it up. That's when you mamish make a big mess. But if you just split it open, and you take a quick peek to see that the spinal cord is intact, that doesn't make it not a tmima. So Mela no raya. Rav Sheshes Berei, the Ravidi Omar, and here starts the rayas that the Gemara is going to stay with. Asyo me egla arufa. Egla arufa is if a person is found dead between two cities, you bring a calf, this cane, and bring the calf from the closest city to it, and they chop the head off. After you knock the head off, the animal has to remain the way it was. Shalim. Now, maybe you brought an animal that's no good, that's a treifa. Obviously, you have to depend on the roiv. Who cares if it's a treifa? So Rashi says that maybe the Torah is only saying that it has to be like when you knocked its head off. In other words, don't chop it up into pieces. But But who says that we care about a treifa? At the end of the day, this is not a carbon. You're not eating it. You're just chopping its head off.
The type of korban.
It's a kapara. It says Gemara, Ha'amri debei Rabbi Yanai kapara ksiv bo kikachim. Since the Torah uses the word kapara, so therefore it's like kachim, meaning that it cannot be a treifa. Now what about, how come the Gemara here doesn't just say that we cut it open a little bit and we peeked inside? So in that Taisa says it doesn't work by egla arufa because it has to be whole. It says ha'arufa, we learned that it has to be whole, and even cutting it open a little bit is not proper. Says the Gemara by the Rabbi Bar Bashila Omar, Asio mi paraduma. Another raya. Let's learn now from paraduma. Domar Achmona v'shochav v'sorav mashchitasik shishlemo avsrifosik kishishlemo. You burn the paraduma when it's whole, meaning I don't take a look inside to see if it's a treifa or not. Why not? Let's be concerned that maybe it's a treifa. So here I have a concept of roiv. What's the difference? Who cares if it's a treifa or not? The Torah calls it a chatos, and since it's a chatos, it cannot be treifa. Now, Tosfos, very interesting Tosfos. Tosfos says over here, a mordeki yisoid. Tosfos asks, how old is a paraduma when I bring a paraduma? 2 years old. That means that the paraduma was not born a treifa. One thing I know for sure, when it was born, it wasn't a treifa because a treifa could only live 12 months. So if it made it to 24 months, then it has a chazaka that it's not a treifa. And once I have a chazaka, let's continue this chazaka. Why should I say that it turned into a treifa? There's no raya to roiv because maybe it has a chazaka because it lived the first year. It had a chazaka that's a bar kayama. It's not a raya. I don't have to come on to roiv. So Tosfos says a very interesting aside that this is a chazaka, a retroactive chazaka. In other words, it's not in front of me. When I have a mikvah and I say, hey, this 40 saw here, so I saw this 40 saw. Now the chazaka starts ticking. It starts going from here on. But over here, I'm saying, because I lived a year, so Mela last year it was not a treifa. So that was last year, not now. I don't know what it is today. All I can tell you is that a year ago it wasn't a treifa. That's not a good chazaka, as he says. It's a chab. It's a chab.
If it's more than a year, it lives more than a year, then it's not treifa, right?
Then maybe it became treifa today.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe it became treifa yesterday. People, not every hole in the heart was developed at birth. Sometimes developed over the person's lifetime.
So every killer can kill somebody, maybe it became a treifa that day.
That's exactly what the Gemara is going to ask today. We're going to get to that Gemara. Very good. We're getting there. So the Gemara, and by the way, and then Tosfos says here, very interesting, because I never thought about this, and I'm sure Rabbi Shomberg has a lot to say about this. I don't really understand it. Maybe we should actually look inside. Because look at this Tosfos, Asio mi paraduma. Have you ever thought about this thing? How can we eat cheese? If we eat cheese, maybe the animal dies, one of the animals that produced the cheese, and it was treif. How can we eat cheese? I never even thought about this. Milk, but milk we're drinking right away. Cheese happens years later. By that time the animal's dead and we know it's a treif and you're eating it. But milk, it's still alive. So while it's alive, it's not a treif. No, I don't know. Oh, v'yesh lilmoi mitoch halach l'maisa. Halach l'maisa.
We have this problem with milk.
Yeah.
The operations on the cows. If a cow is in operation, it can make it treif, right? So how can you have the milk or the cheese from such a
But
cow?
it's still alive. Okay.
It's still alive.
Yeah.
All the badats and the kadassia will all the part of the job mashkiach to check if the cows had an operation.
No way. So if you have thousands of cows in in these milkeries, whatever they're called,
Every cow is checked.
that is insane.
Each cow has a logbook. If it's ever
And they won't let it milk? But it needs to get milked. I've been to one of these places. You ever saw the merry-go-round milking thing?
Yes. So
Hundreds of cows per hour on the same thing. You ever seen these things? You
That
know what a merry-go-round is?
the robot is milking.
Yeah, hundreds. They come off and on, hundreds.
The mashkiach.
What, they're going to take the cow out and not let it milk? So it'll be bitzar that day.
It's all automatic. So when
Yeah.
the cow comes up to the thing, it's got a tag on it.
Yeah.
here.
It'll start beeping.
And the mashkiach before has programmed the computer with all the cows that have got had operations, and it doesn't let it in. And it goes somewhere else. No, but it goes out.
Yeah, I don't know if it has another, there's no other milker over there. They have one giant milker.
It doesn't go in that.
Okay,
Goes on another line.
fine.
It's programmed. That's all the virtual ones are done.
there's also, isn't there something where they
They're good to have
puncture
shame anyway.
There's something that
What?
comes a little longer, they puncture the animal or something.
Where?
What?
But
What do you mean?
that's have got reverting.
Oh, yes, I'm middle of the Toises here. V'yesh lilmoid, Toises dimmer maskal asking for aduma, middle of the Toises. V'yesh lilmoid mitoch kach halacha lemaisa, he says. Dem asu gvinois mekama behemois, they made cheese out of a few animals. V'achach nishchot ha'achas v'nitza streifa shekula masurois. Then this all this cheese is not going to be good. De'en lahamed porach eskasav v'loim hashtu d'nitrifa.
What? Why?
Because I can't. Right now, I see that it's treif, and I can't say that it became treif afterwards.
After you milk.
But even if it's treif, even we know it's treif, it's still a roiv.
No, we say
I mean, it's like having
like-
5 pieces of meat in front of us.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's in there. You know, for one, that's right.
I had a piece of treif.
That's something else. Yeah, that would be a different halacha.
With,
Right. It's
It's all mixed together, you can't.
it's all mixed. You can't be.
Trace the whole thing.
I mean, those cheese.
All right. Anyway, Zok the Gemara.
No, but he says even if the treif is a real surcha, so it's fake, whatever, it's okay. You can have them.
Don't we have certain bits of barov if we don't know? Or we know?
No, you can't do that. You can't do bittul roiv like that because you like. Ravacha bar Yaakov Omar Asi Misorah Mishtaleach. Okay, another raya. You have on Yom Kippur, you take 2 goats. One you shecht, one you throw off a mountain. The Rachmana Omar v'lokach shnei asirim, shiu shneim shavim. They both have to be equal. And here's the very interesting thing, that we don't know which one we're going to take for shechita, which one we're going to throw off the mountain. And they have to be equal. In other words, each one has to have the possibility to be shechted to the point where we know that it's not a treifa. How are you going to shecht it if it's a treifa? Says the Gemara, Dilma chad minayu treifa, Yudalaf on the base. Maybe one of them is a treifa. Ella mishunam rinan zil basar ruba. V'chidei meman aftalom mina. Okay, so we throw it off the mountain. Who cares if it's a treifa? Ha'ein goyel kavel azazel ela b'davar roi l'Shem. At the end of the day, this animal had to be roi to be shechted. Okay, so I'll tell you, after I throw it off the mountain, I check it. Bosnan, it says the Mishnah, it didn't even get to the half of the mountain. Would break up into pieces. So how in the world are you going to check this animal? Maybe all its broken bones happened beforehand. Maybe they have to happen after. Maybe the punctured lung was from the fall. How do I know? So you can't check it. So Mela,
the azazel is also a carbon and can't be treifa.
it has to have the ability to be a carbon because at the point of the goyrel, it could go 50-50.
Yeah, but
So
once it's gone, Lazazel,
yeah.
we know that Goran worked that it didn't go.
Yeah, but at the time of the girl, it had to be. That's all we know. At the time of the girl, it had to be shava. It couldn't have been a treifa. Even though afterwards, retroactively, I know that it wasn't needed, but it needed to be not a treifa because the Torah says shava.
We're not saying that the Azazel one also has to be a kosher animal.
It does.
Only because of the shovim.
Only because of the shavim. Yeah.
So it's not a carbon.
It's not a carbon. Not because of the carbon, because of the shavim. The Torah tells us it has to be equal in terms of it can't be a treifa.
50, he would be the one that's
No, so at that point you'll say, okay, get another one. No. It has to be, not because of a carbon, it has to be shavim.
My question is more about what's the function of the Azazel?
I know. I chap. That's what you're asking. There's no function. It's like a chukah.
Just like the Egar roof, that also has to be kosher. It's also not a carbon in the traditional sense.
So over there you'll say it does say the word over there of carbon, whatever. Over here it doesn't even say the word carbon. It still has to be not a treifa because it has to be equal to the other one. They have to be equal.
It's like a carbon.
The function is that it has to be equal.
It's not like that. That's the whole thing. It's not.
No, but here, if you want to go into the Kabbalistic thing, not forget about Kabbalah. They have to be equal. So the one that was shechted, you can't say, oh, the one that I threw off the mountain, it's a lesser animal. No, it's mamish the same animal that I'm doing. Why? I don't know. This is great. It says in the Torah that if somebody wounds his father or mother, there's like blood or whatever it is, you have to kill the kid. And now, how do you kill the kid? Who told you that this is the father? There's no DNA. Now, yeah, this guy was with the mother all the years, but maybe there's a 10% chance or a 1% chance that she was mizana. He's not the father. Elalav mishum damrinan zil basaruba. So you have to say that maybe you go, it's because of the Rav. V'Rav Be'ilois achar Baal. We have to assume that that's the father. Most Be'ilois go after the father. Maybe it's only a specific case where the father and the mother were in a room, they were locked up, there's no other way, no other man involved, and that's the case that we kill the son. Otherwise, we don't kill him. Says the Gemara, there's never a situation where I could guarantee 100% certainty that she wasn't Mizana. There's the jailer, there's this, there's that. When it comes to Arayis, there's no guarantees ever. And so you see, even in a case of not a Rav that's in front of us, that we kill this.
There's a great statistic done in England.
Yeah.
Where they did a lot of research on DNA, and I think they had about 1,000 Jewish children involved in this 30,000 tests. There wasn't a single child that wasn't a child of his father, of the recognized parents.
Out of the Jews.
In the Jewish community.
But in the other communities?
No, there's issues, but also kids who get mixed in.
Well, you have
hospital, you have things like that.
right, and you also have adoptions. You have adoptions. You have this. You have that.
Okay, but I'm talking about where they knew who the father was.
It's not 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Ain't no, but
What's the chance?
it's not. No one is.
You don't find a single case in England.
I love "Ein Abba Troubles L'Arais." It's one of my favorite lines. No, when I have a friend, I fight with him all the time about this. "Ein Abba Troubles L'Arais." No, this guy's firmer than me. He davens v'sikin every day. All he does is talk some Torah. But he sends his kids to mixed schools. He has his hashkafa when it comes to these things. A little modern orthodox, and so that's our big thing. I always thought, but he says my kids. So, but take teenagers. Put Ein Abba Troubles L'Arais. I don't get it. Fine. Rav Kahana Omar. Asil, this is what you were talking about before. Asil Mohiregis Hanefesh. Somebody kills somebody. Domer Achmona Katli. V'leichush Dumut Treifa Hava. How could you kill a killer? A Reitayach gets Misa. How can you do that? V'leichush Dumut Treifa Hava. Maybe the person he killed is a treifa. And what happens? It's a good riddle. How is it possible? There's a guy that's about to kill somebody, and there's Eidim and Hasra. He kills the person, and you don't do anything to him. You don't give him Misa.
Sorry,
Yeah.
how did we leave Mori with the father? That's a proof.
Yeah, it's proof. We had a bunch of proofs. By the way, we had a bunch of proofs. We had Egla Rufa. No, we had Egla, not all of them. Egla Rufa was good. Paraduma was good. We have a bunch of proofs. These are all right. Different examples of proof. So now, just a regular killer. How do you kill him based on he's going to a party? He got rishos to leave early. Nobody else could leave. He got special rishos. Yeah. At 8 o'clock in Bnei Yeshivas, there's at 8:15. There's a clown juggler. There's a good show for kids, for children. If you are at the Chanukah Masiba on Wednesday, it's not necessary. It's really not this. Okay, fine. I'll go upon it. So you hear the Shaila? Maybe the guy you killed was a treifa, and memela you put it from Misa. It's unbelievable, halacha.
I know.
Guy for katalta, whatever the lashon is over there. Yeah, a guy has a punctured heart. He's going to die anyways within 12 months. You kill him, you put it from Misa b'dei adam. Most human beings don't have any issues. They're not treifas. And memela yichayiv Misa. Maybe you should do an autopsy, hakaminva. But that makes the body disgusting. You're not allowed to do that. But wait a minute. Why shouldn't you make it disgusting? There's a person's life dependent on this. If we do an autopsy and we find out that he's a treifa, the killer won't get misa. So maybe you should make it nivel. Says the Gemara, so, says the Gemara, at the end of the day, how can we check? Maybe where he put the knife into the body, there was already a pre-existing hole there. Let's say he stuck him in his heart. Maybe there's a hole in the heart exactly where the knife went. Memela, he killed a person that was a treifa. So opening up the body is not going to help me. Wherever the bullet went in, let's say it hit him in the lung, maybe the guy had a punctured lung and he's going to die anyways. So what's the autopsy going to help me?
You see from you're not chayiv misa if you suffocate a guy.
Oh, as Taisvis, what about suffocation?
This is a groma.
No,
Why not?
Taisvis asks a question from drowning somebody. So Taisa says that the Gemara knew, because it says in the Torah, that he hit him with an object. You can't bring a riot from suffocation, but of course you have misa for suffocation. Just the Torah says that you killed a person with a metal object or with an object. So in that case, how do you kill in that case?
You can bring a riot from tomorrow that you're allowed to do an autopsy to save a life.
You can do anything to save a life. Why do you need this Gemara? You allowed to.
No.
That's only the Fanecha.
No, it's not like
The Gemara had to have a minute to say it.
he's dead.
Is that a shiloh today? You ever had a shiloh that you can't do? If somebody's going to die, you don't do an autopsy?
The Goyim claim the reason for an autopsy often is to see what caused the death, to save other
Prevent
people's
others.
Oh, you mean for medical research?
Yeah, but there's
Okay, but that's not a on the spot thing.
No,
You
if you
can-
have somebody who has got the same conditions in the same hospital, right, and they're both dying, one of them has died, you would in theory be allowed to do an autopsy, la halacha, because you could find out what's killing this other person.
I got it. Okay, in that kind of situation. Oh, I thought you were saying they're gonna give somebody a death penalty unless they open up the body right now and find out that he didn't die because of this guy. I thought that's what you meant. You're saying stop for medical research. That's a little bit weaker because it's not 100%.
I think in America, when they give the death penalty to somebody,
Yeah.
lethal injections,
Yeah.
they always disinfect the area first for the needle.
Infected?
Disinfected.
Yeah.
It was wondering why.
So they do it. The reason they do autopsy is to make sure that he wasn't murdered, the person.
Right, of course.
Not necessarily.
But that's not to save a life. That's just to save jail. That's different.
That's to save this person being killing other
We just
people.
need to right at the place, maybe there's a hole right there.
That's exactly.
The Gemara's coming
Yeah.
to that.
Ravina Omar, Asim Edim Zorimim. Ravina Omar, Asim Edim Zorimim. The Omar Achmonav Basisim Loika Shezoma. Now, when it comes to the Zorimim, the Torah says you give him the death penalty if they wanted to kill somebody through their testimony and they found out to be false witnesses, so we kill the witnesses. Now over here, there's no. This is even when the guy's alive. There's no bullet wound. There's no knife. This is based on testimony. Now, over here, there's nothing to do. Over here, maybe you should open up the body and check the body, but there is nobody to check because the guy's alive. We have to assume that we go after the right, and we say most people are not treifa, and these Edom try to kill a live person, not a treifa, and therefore we kill them. Maybe open up the body that they try to kill, that they killed. Now Rashi says, who's Berebi? Rashi says, anytime it says Berebi, it means the Galadar. Just Rashi says, we have no idea who this Galadar is. Other Rishonim say, time out, hold on a second. I'm not even finished with the question. I'm just sticking in here. Who this Berebi is? The Ritva says Berebi means the son of Rebbe, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, but Rashi over here says it means a Galadar. So what does Rebbe say? Lo hargu neheragim, hargu ein neheragim. Berebi says that the whole case of Edom Zayim is only if he didn't die. If he died, there's no Edom Zayim. So if he didn't die, as the Gemara, at the end of the day, there's no checking. You can't check him. He's not alive. He's not dead. Now Taisus asks, but wait a minute, so wait 12 months. I love this Taisus. I don't even know it so well, but I will tell it to you anyway. Taisus says, wait 12 months. And then kill the Edom Zayim and check out to see that he's not a treifa. What's the big deal? So Taisus says that if you wait 12 months, again, Edom Zayim come and say, we saw Ruvain killed somebody. They want to kill Ruvain based on false testimony. We find out Imanu Yezim, they never saw Ruvain kill anybody, so they get killed. But Ruvain might be a treifa. Maybe they try to kill Ruvain, who's a treifa. So it's a raya that we go on the Rav. What's the raya? Wait for Ruvain 12 months. See if Ruvain can live for 12 months. If he can live for 12 months, then they try to kill a Vada treifa. And maybe you kill them. Says Taisus is an unbelievable cheshbon. If that's the case, that you wait 12 months, so then they never try to kill this guy now. They try to kill him in 12 months. But in 12 months from now, maybe he became a treifa that day, on the 12th month. So now you have to wait another 12 months to see if it's treifa. And you just keep on going and going, so then you can never kill it. Then the whole concept of Edom Zayim never exists. Yichap? The question is, wait for this guy 12 months, and we'll see after 12 months
Whether
he can the intended victim, if he can live for 12 months, that's a right that he's not a treifa, and maybe I could kill the Edom Zayimim. But that means that every time Edom Zayimim come to testify about the intended victim, they never intended to kill him on day one because they know the halacha is they have to wait for 12 months.
No, that's only if the Zoyim turn up.
Right.
Yeah.
These guys turned up, they try to get him killed now.
Today, they wanted to do the
Right, but
They conspired to get him killed today.
they can
They said, Ruben was the Chal Shabbos to kill him.
12 months, they
What?
know the Zom, you're saying if they know that you have to wait 12 months, they know they're going to have to wait 12 months. The Zomim know they have to wait.
right. They know that they're not gonna die. That if they get
It's for everyone.
caught,
The same thing is for everyone.
they're gonna have to wait 12 months to find that they're
Huzam.
huzam.
Right.
And that 12 months, at the end of the 12 months, maybe he became a treifa again. Maybe he became a treifa on that day,
Right.
and we can't kill.
The Ein Zoyim.
I hear what you're saying. I'm missing something then.
It's the time they made
Fine,
the
I have to look back at
testimony,
Tosfos.
though. It's at the time they made the testimony that they became zone.
Yeah.
So it goes back retroactively. You wait 12 months and then we
Yeah, but
know-
he's
we know
asking,
that
but they
we
try to
were
kill him
at that
today.
time.
They try to kill the guy today. You're right. You have to. If they are found out that they are zayimim, you would have to wait 12 months. I'm missing something. Okay, fine. Zog the Gemara. Let's just finish up here. Ravino Omar Asim is zayimim. Fine. We said this. Rav Ashi Omar Asim shchita atzmo. Let's prove it from every shchita. There and then. The Omar Rachmonis shechoid ve'achol. You could just shecht an animal and eat. V'leicho shema mokim nekev ko shachit. This is very interesting. I want to ask Dr. Epstein. He's not here, unfortunately. We'll ask him tomorrow. Halachically, it comes out halachically that if there's a very, very small puncture wound in the esophagus, that renders the animal a treifa. But if there's a small puncture wound in the trachea, in the windpipe, it's not a problem unless it's the size of an iser. It has to be much larger. I would have thought, not being a doctor, that's the exact reverse. That the windpipe that you breathe, even a small puncture wound is a problem. And the eating tube, no. So you could do, I don't know, eat salads that shouldn't go into the hole.
No, it's exactly opposite because the infection leaks out into the body cavity, whereas the air doesn't
Infection. Okay, I hear. But the Gemara says, at the end of the day, maybe the animal that you just shechted had a tiny wound on its esophagus, and the knife went right through that wound, and you'll never know. And Memela, you see that you're samech on a roiv.
Where's the blood vessel? Where's that cut?
What do you mean?
When we do shchita,
Yeah.
you go through the windpipe and the food pipe.
And this jugular vessel right there.
It's really the jugular vessel that kills the animal.
Yeah, sure. And it gets choked by the blood and everything, yeah.
No, it's the loss of blood pressure that instantly makes it go unconscious and then dies.
No, it's a
Yeah, but
catheter.
the whole
Once the
of the-
windpipe's capped,
What's the windpipe? What?
It takes a 30 seconds, it doesn't breathe. Go for 30
You
seconds.
can go for a minute without breathing.
You think the loss of blood pressure causes
Yeah,
unconscious on the spot?
It's a lot of loss
There's a
of
whole
blood
study
pressure,
about,
On the spot.
yeah, that's
It
what-
loses consciousness.
No blood to the brain on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay. But the Gemara never talks about. I mean, not that it never talks about it, but the ikr simanim, roiv simanim.
Yeah.
I guess if you get the roiv simanim, you got that vein somehow in order to get there. I don't know.
That's a bit.
All right. V'leichu shema regula. Elam mishum damrin zilbasru. Omer Ravashi Amrit l'shmaitz kamid Rav Kahana v'Amri lo Rav Kahana b'kamid Rav Shimi. I said this in front of Rav Kahana, or some said I said in front of Rav Shimi. V'Omar lei, and whoever one of if either was Rav Kahana or Rav Shimi said back. V'dilma heichad efshar. What is the raya? Maybe everything we just discussed about roiv and not roiv is where I could figure it out, where I know how to look for it, but something I can't figure out. Like all these cases, maybe then I have no brayer. Then I go by roiv.
It's a possible before, so you don't.
What?
It's a possible before, so you don't need to do. It's kosher.
What are you talking about?
Schiet all these things.
The Gemara is going to say. For the miyot, what, he never ate meat? Now Tosfos asks, and all the Rishonim ask, and that's what Chaim was saying. It's mefurish pasuk, you're allowed to eat basar taiva. So what the Gemara is asking on Remeir or Miot, and the Gemara says, V'chitei machinami, what's the big raya that Remeir ate meat? Pesach the Torah says Yimuchuyev to eat Pesach. And the Torah says Yimuchuyev to eat Kachim, because Rashi says that it says by Shlomim, Kupar Bohem, that if you eat it, then you get a kapara. So in other words, you have to eat it. But that's a Bam Kasha. At the end of the day, the Torah says you could forget about Pesach and Kachim. The Torah says you could eat Bosa Taiva. So that's why Tosfos says that the Gemara's Kasha is not Midoraisa. The Gemara says it's Midorabbana. Maybe, it's interesting, maybe Remeir would be Machmir Midorabbana not to eat meat. Because he's Soymach on a Miyut. But Midoraisa, 100%, you can be Soymach on Roiv according to Remeir. It's only the Rabbanan kind of thing not to be Soymach on Roiv.
Remeir was a vegetarian though. You never heard Remeir was a vegetarian.
Well, we have proof that he wasn't a vegetarian because this place, I forgot to put it on, what do you call it? I'll do not disturb. Fine. Not his fault. So Mela, the Gemara says at the end of the day, where I could do it, all these cases that I brought here, the Eglah roof, all these things, I can't check. But in other situations where I could check, then I can't be Soymach on a Roiv. So, let's say by Katan and Ktana, I could check. Just wait a few years. So then I can't be Soymach on a Roiv. In these cases, not. Now, before you guys go, there's an amazing Rashi. I think we should do it inside. The top Rashi on this page, very, very important. And why is it very important to do this Rashi? Because Rashi says all the way at the end of Rashi, Ve'im mefarsim madavar. You're not allowed to tell people about this Rashi. So I'm not going to tell you about it. We're just going to learn inside. Says Rashi, by you guys, it probably starts from the top. Now, Rashi here. Of course, your mayor used to eat because it's kachin. The samach aruba when you have no choice because maybe the knife went through a puncture wound and you'll never know it, so you have to be samach on a roiv. But nevertheless, when it comes to katan ktana, since you could wait, so Remeir he's mechulik Remeir and he says you can't be samach on a roiv. Now Rashi says, according to us, Rabbanan, who say we are samach on a roiv. Now, how do Rabbanan learn this concept of roiv when I could figure it out? Elavade says Rashi, halacha, two pshatim Rashi says. Elavade halacha l'moishim l'siyin ayhod samchina aruba, afilu echad efshar. Says Rashi, this thing that if I could be mevarit, I don't have to be mevarit because there's a roiv. That's halacha mashim Sinai. Or inami says Rashi, achri ravin lahatois. The Gemara, all the way in the beginning of the sugya, the first thing the Gemara said in the beginning is, well, what do you mean? We have a pasuk that says, Achrei Rabim Lahatos, that you go after the Roiv. And on that the Gemara said, well, there's a difference between in front of us and not in front of us. Says Rashi, maybe we don't believe in that distinction. The Torah says Achrei Rabim Lahatos, and that's it. There's no nafkamina if it's in front of us or not in front of us. Mashma Beiruba L'Islakamon, Beiruba L'Islakamon, the Maishna Hai Mahai. Now, here's the secret that Rashi doesn't want people to know. And based on this, we don't check all 18 treifas in every animal. However, there is one that everybody checks. And that's what we check today. When a kubas hareya, the lung. Why? Because it's very common. Moshe Arenfeld told me today that it's not just common, but it's the roiv. But I told him it's not true. It's not the roiv. Roiv have sirchas, and maybe we don't use them. But that's because we don't know how to check sirchas. But halachically, we don't have a real roiv that have sirchas. Sirchas are the little scratches and stuff on the lungs. They check it out. Now we don't know what to do with them. Someday they're just legions. Okay, very good.
But many people don't. I mean, there is such a thing as eating non-black meat.
Yeah, but if it's a sircha, real sircha, then it's
No,
straight.
that means that you take off the lesion and there's no hope.
No, it's just stuck to surface.
Yeah.
So if there's a real hole, okay, fine. But basically, we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to check it. There's problems with the way we do it. We're saying on different things. Now, says Rashi, what happens if the lung gets lost and you didn't check? And now there's a lot of lungs that have these sirchas on them. Misachlo, you're allowed to eat the meat. The samchin and aha, you can be samach on this thing that you're samach on roiv. We had the Ravuna Naftes that every animal when you shecht it has a chazaka of heter. But don't tell people about this kula.
Why not?
Because then people won't check the lungs. We need people to check lungs. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, so tomorrow's shir l'chayra is going to be at